The story of Ned Kelly. Australia had a Wild West period, just like the United States did, and Ned Kelly was their Jesse James. As a matter of fact, Ned was captured and he was sent to prison, and this is the jail that he was in and where he was executed. Even before Ned Kelly became widely known, folklore and ballads were popular about him. He was the free-ranging bush outlaw, a potential symbol of freedom and resistance to authority. Ned was born in 1855. He was the son of an alcoholic rustler and a mother who sold illicit liquor. By the time he was 11, he was already in constant trouble with the police, who considered the whole family troublemakers. Constables in the area were instructed to endeavor whenever the Kellys commit any paltry crime to bring them to justice. The object is to take their prestige away from them. Ned was the apprentice of accomplished bushranger Harry Power, and by the time he was in his mid-teens, he had a string of warrants to his name. Ned's brother Dan was also wanted by the police. Hearing that he had turned up at his mother's, a policeman set out, drunk and without a warrant, to arrest him. A scuffle ensued, and the unsteady constable fell to the floor, hitting his head and allowing Dan to escape. The following day, warrants were issued for the arrest of Ned, who was in New South Wales at the time, and Dan for attempted murder. Their mother was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. From this point on, the Kelly gang's crime spree accelerated, and following the death of 3 constables in a shootout at Stringy Bark Creek, the biggest manhunt in Australia's history began, with a £1,000 award offered for the gang's apprehension. On December 9th, 1878, they robbed the bank at Eora, taking £2,000, before moving on to another place in New South Wales, where an additional bank was robbed, and Kelly penned the famous letter describing the big, ugly, fat-necked, wombat-headed, big-bellied, magpie-legged, narrow-hipped, splay-footed sons of Irish bailiffs or English landlords, which is better known as officers of justice or Victoria Police, who had forced him onto the wrong side of the law. After a year on the run, the gang formulated a grand plan. They executed a police informer, and thus attracting a train-bound posse from a nearby town, and this train was intended to be derailed, with as much bloodshed as possible before the gang moved on to rob yet another bank and barter hostages for the release of Kelly's mother. In any event, having already sabotaged the tracks, the gang commandeered the local inn, and in a moment of drunken candor, Kelly detailed his ambush plans to a schoolteacher who escaped, managing to save the special train. As the armed troopers approached the inn, the gang donned the homemade iron armor that has since become their motif. In the ensuing gunfight, Kelly's comrades were either killed or committed suicide as the inn was torched, while Ned himself was taken alive, tried by the same judge who had incarcerated his mother, and sentenced to hang. Public sympathies lay strongly with Ned Kelly, and a crowd of 5,000 gathered outside the Melbourne jail on November the 11th, 1880, for his execution. Believing that the 25-year-old bushranger would die game, true to form, his last words are said to have been, "Such is life." You can still see in the Melbourne jail the original beam that was used to hang Ned Kelly and the trap door. In the 1940s, an Australian artist by the name of Stanley Nolan did a series of paintings concerning Ned Kelly, and those paintings turned up on the Outback Steakhouse walls. You may have seen them there and wondered what the story was. Now you know.